Welcome to Underlord's Universe, where I've got my brother and fellow rock enthusiast Brent with me today, although he's the machine man and I'm the alchemist. That's because we're going to be talking about a little bit about Bruce Dickinson. We're both longtime fans of the Iron Maiden vocalist and his solo work. And there's a new album coming out, and he gave us a bit of a prequel. So we're just going to do a quick discussion about this. You and I really haven't talked about the first. And now there's a second single out uh,
Hmm.
for this album, right? We haven't really talked about this, have
Right.
we? Okay.
No, not really. No.
I went ahead and ordered the vinyl version of the single, which is called Afterglow of Ragnarok. And you got this
He's ripped,
impressive,
man. Check him out. He's
yeah, powerful, impressive photo of Bruce on the back. And it's got, as you might know, if you're watching this, it has the demo version of a song called If Eternity Should Fail, which was the opening track on the Book of Souls album that Maiden put out. And it was intended for a Bruce Dickinson solo album. He's now since reworked the song, as I understand it, into a
hmm
different song altogether that will be on the new album. But you can hear the demo version here. I know you don't have this, do you, Brent?
No, no, I
Okay.
don't.
But so you heard the demo version of the song?
I have not.
Okay. I'll describe it a little bit, but the focus here is on the new piece, Afterglow of Ragnarok, and we can also maybe chit chat a bit about the follow-up single, Rain on the Graves.
Sure.
And so first of all, it's part of a story. The deluxe
Hmm.
version of the upcoming album is going to be uh, accompanied with some sort of comic, and that's cool. I think the artwork is really pretty stunning, pretty great. Okay.
hmm
And,
hmm
the one thing there's a few things though that just automatically bug me right off the bat though, and I just got to get these off my chest. First of all, I mean, that's a cool image, I think, but this, I think, would have been a fantastic, much better cover. Partially because I just think that it has a bit more of a pulpy kind of sensibility to it.
Sure does. Yeah.
And if you've seen the video for the song, it's clearly got some low budget B grade cheese to it. And I just think that that would have just matched up so much better. And I actually prefer, just from a an artistic standpoint, I just prefer that art to
hmm
that. Now maybe there's some reason. Clearly the M is there, and maybe it'll all unveil itself as it, as the other material gets released. But so it's called Afterglow of Ragnarok, uh, by Bruce Dickinson, um, a Mandrake Project prequel, and of course the M would be for the Mandrake Project. And if you read the little comic, you kind of get a sense of what's going on here. The uh, the song though, because that's the most important thing here, really. I when this came out, I wanted to love it, and I just did not love it. That's my initial reaction. I
hmm
didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
it was just like, oh, that sounds like something Roy Z and Bruce would write.
hmm
There you go. And I love Accident of Birth. I think Chemical Wedding is one of the best albums ever made by anybody.
hmm
I think Tyranny of Souls is often overlooked and underrated. I think that's right up there with those other two albums. I'm
hmm
hoping I'm hoping that's the case for uh, for the new album, the Mandrake Project. The other thing I have a little bit of a kind of just, I don't know, the whole thing about Afterglow of Ragnarok. Now, of course, it might make sense again with the upcoming story that's going to go along with this, but the word Ragnarok kind of bothers me in a rock and roll context, and there's a couple reasons for it. As you might know, Ragnarok is kind of an end times thing that's part of Norse mythology.
Hmm.
So it goes back, I mean, it predates rock music. But
Yeah.
just the fact that the word rock is in it,
Yeah.
it almost makes it sound like, well, if you didn't know anything at all about Norse mythology, you might think he just made up something to sound rock. And that's so that's where that's where cheese can kind of be on that edge of Limburger, for me.
If
I
I
don't know.
might,
I'm probably just being a little nitpicky, but
well, would you agree with this though? It's something you wouldn't be surprised to see on like a Thor or a Manowar album,
well,
something
no,
like
because Thor did use a reference Ragnarok because the character of Thor, of course, is Norse mythology. So
that. Right.
you're right. When this first came out, the first thing I thought of was, wow, that's kind of getting a little close to John Michael Thor,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
let Thor do Thor, right? But you
Yeah.
know,
But like you said, we don't really know where it fits in terms of the whole
yeah,
album,
yeah.
so we'll see.
So what do you think of the song? There's kind of that pre-chorus thing is really dissonant and but it's cool. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I just don't love it. Like I
That
wouldn't
was
necessarily skip it if it was on, but it didn't blow me away. What do you think?
that was my reaction as well. The thick, sludgy, the down-tuned guitars, very much in line with what he's done
Hmm.
on Chemical Wedding, Tyranny of Souls, like you said. Well, this sounds like something he would write with Roy Z,
Hmm.
which, yeah, um,
Which is good, you
which
know.
is good, but um, I'm having a hard time describing. When I first heard it, I was less than impressed.
Mm,
As we both know, sometimes the lead single is not the best song on a record. So I'm not. I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the whole record. And it's not that I don't like this song because I do like it. Um, I just like you. I kind of wanted to love it, and I was like, huh, okay, that's cool. It's all right. I mean, I've
yeah.
listened to it probably 5 times since
What'd
it
you
came out.
what'd you think of the video? I mean, I thought
Um,
the video I thought was entertaining and it was kind of funny because it was kind of this B grade, low budget kind of thing. But at the same time, the thing about Chemical Wedding that I loved so much, as well as like Tyranny of Souls, but especially Chemical Wedding, it hinted at some depth and some kind of occult mystery to it.
mhm,
And
mhm,
all of the William Blake references and the William Blake artwork was just really classy. There's just a level of class to it. And it's
yeah,
kind of like that's kind of why I'm kind of like, well, if that's kind of the tone you're setting, you know, if you're going for a little bit more of a comic book kind of B grade type of thing, then go with that. To me, there's kind of artistically and visually some mixed signals kind of going on, and I really loved that more serious tone that he struck with the William Blake stuff. But maybe he'll surprise us when the full album comes out.
yeah. And as for the song, it's I mean, how you would describe it? It's kind of a thick, sludgy. It's a bit
Mhm.
dirgy, but
Yeah.
it's not a slow song. It's kind of a mid-tempo song. It's got some interesting things going on in terms of I think keyboards or whatever he's got kind of going on in the
Yeah.
background with the main riff. Like you said, there's some ambient things going on. Has a bit of a darkness
Oh
to it,
yeah.
which is kind of cool. It's a dark song.
His
Um,
performance, I think the performance and the playing is top notch.
yeah,
I mean, he sounds great. I
he
don't know.
does.
How old is he now?
65. Yeah, be
You know,
66 this year. So and of course he had the tongue cancer and all that. So
yeah.
it sounds as good as he's ever sounded, quite frankly. And I have no doubt that we're going to really like this record. It was an interesting choice of a lead single.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
just put it that way.
I'll tell you what, let's just jump quickly to the second single, and then we'll come back to the if eternity should fail thing because it's a demo, but you texted me when the second single came out, Rain on the Graves, and you said you quite liked it. So
Mm-hmm.
what's your, I mean, your first reaction to Rain on the Graves was did you kind of like it better than Afterglow of Ragnarok or
Yeah, I
or
did actually. Yeah, I
okay.
thought it was more catchy. I thought the riff was a little bit more accessible, a little more. I don't want to say it's not commercial because it's not. I mean, it's a long song. It's also got a really interesting video that goes with it, which is kind of fun. Like kind of like the B grade cheese that you're talking about a
Mhm.
little bit. So clearly he's having fun with these videos. I thought the song was better initially when it came out. Now that I've listened to both of the songs and kind of sorted through them a little bit, I'm not sure if I like it more than Afterglow or if I like Afterglow more. But I really do like Rain on the Graves. I think it's a really strong song. I like the riff. The video's cool because you get to see the band play, and they're not in a lot. You don't get to see the band that often with
Yeah, and
Roy and
he's got a new band put
the new
together,
band. Yep,
um, including the keyboard player Maestro Mysterio or whatever his name is. He's actually on
he's
like
on Tyranny of Souls.
yeah, and he's on Chemical Wedding too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so you get to put a face with these people
Hmm.
now, which is kind of cool. There's a part in the video where you get to see the whole band and Roy playing the guitar, which is kind of cool. So I do like the video. I do like the song.
Hmm.
Um, the video is kind of funny in a way.
Yeah,
Um, I think lyrically, it's dark. I think this is going to be a dark record, but I think the video kind of adds a little bit of humor to whether he intended that the video be funny. I doubt that, but there's some comedic elements to it. Um, he's clearly putting a lot of thought into the material, the videos, like you said, the
yeah. I
book.
think that's true.
Clearly, he's had 19 years to do that. Off and on. Apparently, because the last record came out 2005, so he's had a lot of time to get this prepared. And comes out what March 1st, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
So yeah, I'm very excited to hear the rest of it.
Yeah.
And you didn't like Rain on the Graves quite as much, did you?
No. And I this is gonna sound harsh. I don't it's not as if it's the worst thing I've ever heard. However, my first thought was, how does this rank compared to everything else that's in Bruce's solo catalog? And I thought, I like my initial reaction to Rain on the Graves is I like everything he's done since Tattooed Millionaire better. And that includes some of the stuff on Tattooed Millionaire. I mean, there's some clunkers on that album, and I would say that Rain on the Graves is probably better than songs like Dive, Dive, Dive. Other than
Well,
that, I'm just like, and now is that a statement of how much I dislike Rain on the Graves, or is it a statement about how much I love Bruce's solo catalog, including Skunkworks? I think Skunkworks is actually a really good record. Um, I don't know. It just seemed kind of repetitive. I didn't really like the kind of more. It's not quite spoken word chorus or not chorus, but the verses.
mhm.
I don't know. It just didn't work for me. I agree with you. It sounds like it looks like he's putting a lot of thought into the whole um presentation of all of this, but it seems, at least out of the gate to me, a little disjointed. And again, maybe those threads will come together. Maybe that's partly by design. I appreciate the fact that it's not just, oh, here's an album I slapped together. So I'm looking forward to it, but so far I'm not I'm a little underwhelmed overall. Let's put it that
Would
way.
you agree that Afterglow and Rain on the Graves, they're really dissimilar tracks? I mean,
Oh
again,
yeah.
there's some,
Oh yeah.
they don't sound. That was another thing that really struck me.
Hmm.
When I first heard Rain on the Graves, I'm like, well, this is really nothing like Afterglow of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It's I mean, tonally, obviously, it's got the same guitar tone and but in terms of the song itself,
Yeah. Well, and
it's not.
one
It's not.
thing Josh will often say is, and I think he tends to avoid listening too much, if at all, to pre-album singles because
Right.
and he's right. Often he'll say, well, once you put a song into the context of an album, it feels different. It change, if you're an
Yes.
album oriented person, if you never listen to full albums, then it probably doesn't matter. But since we are kind of album oriented people, that might change the way I react to and think about these songs too. So I certainly want to be open minded about them, but and I don't think that they're bad. It's just when I listen to some of the other stuff that's coming out, singles from other albums that have come out, I think I generally like most of them more from some of the other artists that I've heard. But who knows? I mean, once Bruce's, once the Mandrake Project album in totality comes out, maybe who knows? Maybe that'll end up being album of the year. I mean that happens.
Well, and you've also
So,
said, and I agree, because invariably it happens, even though whether you intend it to or not, you're going to think about, okay, how does this stack up with Balls to Picasso
mhm.
or Chemical Wedding? Because that's what you're not going to compare to what Maiden is, because Maiden's a completely different animal. This is not,
Yeah,
for those who aren't familiar with Bruce's solo work, his solo work is very dissimilar from what Iron Maiden is. And I'm glad.
yeah, yeah.
But his solo albums are so good. The bar is set so high that if something's not quite as great as what he's done in the past, it's not that you're disappointed with it. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, it's good.
Well,
Can I
and
live? It's
you know,
good.
and
Yeah, but I expect him to do things that are great, like you do.
well, and some people I think may have thought that Tyranny of Souls wasn't quite up to snuff, but I thought it was
I
fantastic.
do.
Navigating the Seasons of the Sun, the title track,
The title track,
Believable. I thought Believable was just
dark,
amazing. I mean,
and the Japanese bonus track, Eternal. If people have never heard
mhm.
that song is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great.
I think all of his solo albums are really really solid. So in that sense, I'm still optimistic that it's going to be a really good record, and we'll see. The only thing left that I kind of want to throw at you is the kind of the demo version of If Eternity Should Fail, because
Yeah, talk about that a little
well,
bit.
originally, that was, and he's been open about this for years now. That was originally supposed to be like the lead track to a concept album, and then Steve Harris was like, "Oh no,
Stole it,
great, let's use that." And Bruce was like, "Well, okay, but it's got this."
including the speaking part. And Bruce is like, well, that has nothing to do with the record we're making. And Steve's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It sounds good.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do it all. It sounds good.
yeah. So it's a demo, so it sounds a little fuzzier. The quality of it is not it's not real high fidelity, put it that way, but it's
That's okay.
yeah. The bass playing is obviously different because Steve Harris plays the bass on the Maiden version, and
Mm.
it's going to sound like Maiden when Steve's playing. So it has that. It's got a little bit of a different identity to it from the bass playing. Um, the end of the first verse going into the chorus is a little different. So there's a slight change in the arrangement of how the song progresses. Um, I think overall, it's just if you're like a diehard super fan and you're a completist, then it's worth having. Obviously, if you don't have a turntable, then it's not because it was never released on anything other than the
Right.
vinyl. Uh,
Right.
the I, Perhaps the most interesting thing about it was at the very end. You mentioned the spoken word part, and the spoken word part at the end doesn't have any effect on it like the Maiden version does.
Oh, okay.
So, one of these days when you pop over here, we'll throw it on. You can listen to it, but um, yeah, it's a nice novelty to have. It's cool. I don't regret buying it in any way. It's I'm glad I have it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the new album progresses as a concept and seeing how this serves as a prequel. Because as we said at the start, it's referenced as a prequel,
Yeah.
Mandrake Project prequel. Yeah. So
And I don't know. I know the track. I'm pretty sure the track listing is available online. I don't know where Afterglow of Ragnarok
I
sits.
haven't seen the track listing myself yet, but
I
yeah.
think it's. I think if you Wikipedia it, I think you can see it.
Okay.
So I might check that out. But if that's a prequel, I wonder if it will it be the first song on the record. I don't know. I'll
Yeah.
have to go look.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's yeah. So yeah. So at any rate, if you're a Bruce Dickinson fan, and you've been with us this whole conversation, please like and subscribe our to our channel, that'd be really cool. We really appreciate it. We
Mm-hmm.
also produce our own music under the banner of Underlords of the Overworld because we are I don't want to say we're underwhelming, but we're certainly underground. And
Yeah,
our bass player also writes novels and publishes them, and they're a hoot. We'll put some
yeah,
links to
they're
our
really
own.
fun, really cool.
Yeah, we'll put some links to our own stuff if anybody's interested. And thanks for supporting if you do, and if you don't yet support, we'd be appreciative if you did.
Yeah, come on board. There's plenty of room for you.
Yeah. Until next time.
Yep.
Brent, you got anything else you want to throw in there?
Looking forward to the Mandrake Project and all the other good music that's coming out this year. Should be an exciting year for music.
Yeah, should be. Okay. See you later.
Later.